via Zoom right now, you can head on over to Facebook. We are on Facebook Live as we speak. And this is none other than Marion Peake, who is Mrs. Eastern Cape 2024. She's a mom to. Am I reading this right? You're a mom to 27
Oh, yes.
kids?
Yes, not biologically. I wouldn't look this good.
Because I was like, whoa, a mom to 27 kids. Okay, so we'll get into that. And of course, you'll
Yes.
explain that to us in just a moment. So, a mom to 27 kids, you're a cancer warrior, you're a wife, and you are CEO as well of an NPO. You're an entrepreneur, you are a humanitarian, and a winner of 9 awards of your work. Is there anything that I missed out on, Marian? I mean, I need to take a
There is
huge.
many more. I'm like an onion. You got to peel me, eh?
Yes, like it until we get to the center. The center is never gonna come with all of these.
Daar stoot in die middel in.
I love it. Listen, Marion, let's get into this. A mom of 27 kids. Explain that one to me.
Okay, so I have 2 biological daughters,
Mm-hmm.
the age of 11 and 7 at the moment.
Yep.
And then I have a further 25 more amazing kids. So I obviously foster kids and I have kids in safety. So I'll tap into being the CEO. I'm a CEO of an organization called Helping Those in Need. The
Okay.
function of the NPO is obviously to rescue abused, abandoned, and raped victims, babies, infants, toddlers, teenagers is my speciality.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have opened up my home along with my husband, and we take in these vulnerable children into our homes. We have been blessed with an amazing home with 6 bedrooms, and each room has 6 beds in it. So we have 27 beds in our home. It's not a center, it's not a facility. It is a home with a mom and dad, no nanny.
Wow.
No cook. I love cooking.
Wow.
No cleaning lady.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a family of 27 with a mom and dad. That is it.
Oh my word. I
Uh,
have no words.
okay. How did you get involved in this? I mean, when it comes to advocating for children's rights and rescuing abandoned children
Yeah.
and babies, how exactly did you get into this line of doing some things?
Yeah, so I obviously grew up in a colored community where there is a lot of lack, and my mom was one of those ladies that was not called the soup kitchen lady, and she would go around driving in a car, and we would open up the back boot, and 2 buckets are filled with soup, and when you open up that back boot, you see kids running from all over. It's such a movie scene because kids run with a bowl, a cup. They take each other's bowls just to have
Yeah.
the bowl filled, and
Sure.
and as they're running for a bowl of hope. And that
Yeah.
is one initiative that we have. That bowl of hope is just to be filled with soup, nourishment for the day. And that just, it left an imprint on my heart. And I always foresaw myself as being that beacon of hope, driving into different areas. So with that, there's always kids in a line without underwear, which
Yeah.
is a big concern for me, especially as young girls. There's kids with no shoes on. There's kids with torn clothing. Their hair isn't brushed. The most severe thing is kids with marks.
Yeah.
Kids with marks, back home, something isn't right. And that is sort of where we boil into our next initiative, where we would take a food parcel into the home just to receive an entry, and actually just have a conversation with the parents. And that is where you pick up abuse, you see rape and all the other stuff. So we didn't just want to take food or a bowl of hope. We wanted to take it further. You can lead a horse to the river. You can't really make a drink forever. You got to sort of go back all the time. And we sort of wanted to take the child out of that environment and empower the child. We advocate so much for women empowerment, but we just say empowerment.
Yeah.
There is the boy child, there's the girl child. A child is a child. So that's sort of how it boiled down. And while the idea boiled down, my cancer journey ignited the motion where I physically was bedbound. I couldn't do my feeding schemes. I couldn't go out in the communities and house calls because I was on chemo and I was severely sick. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, why not fill my house with kids? And boom, 27 kids later. In fact, 580 kids later after the 7 years, but 27 constant I can only keep at a time.
Okay. So wait. Okay. Let's
Wow.
just backtrack for a
We're
moment
backing
here.
up.
Because you gave so much information in all of that right there, so many good nuggets that you just shared with us this afternoon. You mentioned that you've been doing this for about 7 years now, and within the 7 years, you guys have been a mom and a dad, yourself and your husband. You've been a mom and a dad to over 500 kids within the 7-year period, and at the moment you
Yeah,
can only house 27 at a time. So is
yeah.
this like a program, or do they leave after a certain time, or how does it work when it comes to
So
this arrangement?
okay. So we serve as a place of safety. We're
Mm-hmm.
obviously Christian based
Mm-hmm.
and we believe in a season. So when a child is abused and or raped and they feel rejection and all sorts of stuff, not stability, family is very important. So that is what we wanna create for the child for their season.
Yeah.
A season could be 1 week, it could be 3 months, it could be 5 years. It just depends on the child. And in that season, the social workers, they find a family, they find possible parents, they find a secure place. While we call it a forever family.
Mm.
So that is basically what we are. We are the middleman. So a child is abused and they're in that situation and they come into our home, and that is where healing and restoration starts.
Yeah.
And just fundamentals as a family. And we prepare that child, if so be, for that season, then for their forever family, or for something greater that God has in store.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
surely this has come with lots of challenges, but more so, there's surely been so many lessons that you should have learned yourself and your husband, and even your two
Way
biological
many
kids.
lessons.
I mean, just
Yeah.
highlight some of the top 3 lessons that you guys have learned thus far of being on the 7-year journey.
Yeah. The most hectic lesson for me is a child that cannot accept love.
Wow.
A child will come in, and child are so receptive to wanting to be loved,
Mm.
but a child that's been so scarred and rejected are actually afraid to be loved, because they're so afraid to be loved by you and actually consume it, and then you don't want them anymore. For me, that was something that I've never experienced or envisioned. Being afraid to be loved. You see that as an adult.
Yeah.
When you've been dating and you've had so many breakups, I wouldn't know. I've been married to my first love, um, but wanting to accept love, that was the most severe thing for me.
Mm.
And then I would say the second thing for me is a child being traumatized,
Yeah.
coming in for the first time after being victimized, and they have to take that first bath or shower,
Mm.
and they actually don't know what's the shower, first of all, because some kids are from rural areas, and I have to physically get into the shower with them, and
Wow.
it's a comfort thing. The
Yeah.
child is shaking, the child has to strip down. It's a whole, it's quite intense, if I can say that.
Mm.
I can't put it in words. You have
I'm
to be there
sure.
in that moment.
Yeah.
The trauma, the fear, the anxiety, the depression. And then I would say food. Many kids come in, they don't know food. They have been starved, they have had so much lack in their home.
Mm.
So when they see food on the table or abundance, they tend to want to steal the food.
Yes.
So we've had to learn that it's actually not stealing, it's a comfort thing, and it's a survival method. So it's like a bird. A bird will go in and gather all their little food pieces, and it will come back and store it and go fetch
Mm.
more and store it.
Yes.
And that is what kids do, that is in survival mode. They go out and they find whatever they can as quick as possible, because that is theirs.
Mm.
You know, and that is sort of food for them, for comfort. It's food for stability, and just they don't know when they're gonna get it again. So that is three major lessons that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning. I'm
I'm
still
sure you
learning every
are.
single day. Every child is
I
different.
mean, I mean, these are some of the things where, and again, I suppose, which is probably why I'm not in your line of work, because this ain't for the faint-hearted. I mean,
No,
Renette,
it's not.
you work
I
with
do.
families in communities as well,
I
and
do.
I'm sure you can resonate with a lot of what Marion
Oh,
is
too
speaking about.
much.
I mean,
Absolutely.
what are some of the things that you've learned working in communities as well, been doing this for many years?
You cannot believe the misappropriate loyalty that these children have to their parents that abuse them. That
Yes.
is the hardest for me, is that they
Yes.
become adults and they will not even go and speak up against. I had a grandfather that raped his children every single day and his grandchildren, and nobody went up against him. And even when the workers
Yeah.
came and helped him, he just they wouldn't speak up against them. And that is the saddest part. It becomes a norm.
Yeah.
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 It's very sad.
Definitely.
Horrifying.
How do you pass that, man? I mean, it becomes a huge challenge, and speaking about that, I mean, more than 500 kids later, Marion, 27 kids as you speak right now in your home. What are some of the challenges that you have endured thus far yourself and your husband being a team running this, for more than 7 years now? What are some of those challenges?
The major challenge is funding. Let's not
Always.
tap into that.
Yeah.
There's always a lack in that,
Yeah,
yes.
I
But
understand.
in a family unit, if I can say that,
Hmm.
is when a child leaves. Um, when you don't know for sure or certain that the next place is going to be like the one you have. When you love your own child, when you have your own biological child and you leave your child at daycare, I know I'm just one of those moms that will phone the daycare. Did my child eat? Did you wipe them out? I'm one of those moms. And for every single child that comes in my house, they're my babies. They're my child. And for that child to leave to another place, you sort of, you have this lingering thought, is a child warm enough? Is a child fed? Is a child loved? Who's rubbing their tummy when they're in pain? For me, that is the biggest struggle, if I can say that,
Yeah.
mentally.
Yes.
Another thing is also just the justice system. We obviously deal with a lot of rape victims in my house. Um, there isn't a lot of counseling offered. There isn't a lot of work with the police. There's so many factors I can mention. I don't want to really tap into stuff like that, but just having conversations like this on the radio is so empowering.
Yeah.
It is so uplifting because the people that's listening right now could be an eye opener. It could also stir someone's heart to actually step out in faith and
Yes.
actually also start a place like this. So I definitely think what you guys are doing at this very moment is so empowering. I absolutely love it and honor it. I think more voices needs to be amplified for
True.
children, because I don't think that is being done enough in South Africa.
Yeah.
Same as gender-based violence, just amplifying in the right sense and actually getting it sorted. I always say there's so many marches, there is so many advocating, there's so many stuff happening, but what is actually changing?
Yeah. I love that.
Is something changing? I love this quote that I just heard this weekend, Mother Teresa quote, where it says, it might not feel like much that you're doing. It might feel like a drop in the ocean that you're doing. But if we didn't have that drop in the ocean would be less of a drop.
Yeah.
And how powerful is that?
Yes.
Every single person could just have their drop in the ocean.
Absolutely.
How much more bigger, fruitful would that ocean be?
Most definitely. Listen, Marion, don't go anywhere. We are going to continue this conversation afterwards. Really just want to touch on the church, because the church has to be family centered as well. You are very family centered.
Yeah.
Your home is a Christian home for these young kids, for these teenagers to be in. And so we're going to touch on that in just a moment, as also do stay on the line for me. And like Marion mentioned, man, every drop counts, and is exactly like that. We've been saying this. Part of Visionthon this entire week is to let you know that yes, we are building together for a better future. We are building together. Today's theme is building a better future for our families. That is the theme for today. And so if you want to be part of that team that gives, make sure to pop us those WhatsApp details. Renette is going to give you those details right now.
Yes, please. If you can just give an SMS to 37871, and we will send you an SMS back with the banking details. And then we've got a WhatsApp line, which is 082 657 2729, and it's quite an easy number to remember. It's 082. The 657 is for Gauteng's feed, and then 2, and then 729 is our feed. Cape Pulpit. It's very easy to remember if you don't have a pen by you. And then we will manually send you a banking details and acknowledgement of your WhatsApp. So please, please, please join us this afternoon with a big heart, and just give us a little donation, big donation. We've had some beautiful ones coming in. Every cent counts.
Most definitely. So stay tuned, because we are wrapping up the conversation with Marion Peake in just a moment. All of that comes up after this. Or who knows, just in case you feel inspired for any particular reason, make sure to go ahead and check us out on Facebook Live. Marion, okay, let's get into this part because this is just so important to me. I know it is important to you as well, that you are creating a family where, kids can experience love, togetherness, safety. How important is it that the church realizes that not everyone has a traditional family structure, and that as Christians we need to start caring for orphans and also realizing a safe home and the space of a family is where the healing takes place.
Yeah, so church for me is not where God is. God is in your heart. So for me, church is just a building. Church is supposed to be community. So for me, we have church at home. I think we fill a church almost with all the kids. For me, it is important that the church realizes to actually give back to the community. Um, you know, it's a very sensitive subject for me speaking about the church because we don't actually have a lot of support from our churches in our communities. I feel the church should be a place where they give out soup every single day. I mean, that is something that I do. It's also a place where they should have a food bank,
Yeah.
if I could say that.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I would definitely initiate in every single church, and I hope the many pastors and community leaders are listening to right now. The church should be a place where I would consider to be open 24 hours because a lot of suicide happens in the middle of the night. We get a lot of calls from abused women, gender-based violence women.
Yeah.
And where do they go in the middle of the night? Is there such a place as a safe place anymore? Is churches not open? Why are they closed? Why is it only open on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Are we not supposed to praise Jesus 24 hours? That is something that we envision ourselves opening. We want to open up a one-stop shop, if I can say that, where there is police services available for all women. There is a clinic where they can be rape kits. There's also a church where counseling and healing and restoration can happen, as well as deliverance.
Yeah.
And then there should be a place where mom and kids and family, in a nutshell, can basically stay over at a shelter. That is for me is church.
Yeah.
Being a one-stop shop where you can actually lay all your burdens down, at the feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
And that is what I would like to motivate to every single church out there. Start it. Don't wait for someone else to start it. Ignite it today.
Yeah.
If that is your passion, if you are supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and that is what I always say that we try and represent as much as possible. I think church should be the feet and the hands of Jesus, and I think it should be open 24 hours, not literal, but maybe in a different format, in social media, in just having a door open for everyone. I think church or God is so important in our society at this very moment,
Yeah.
especially with a lot of destruction in this world, a lot of poverty, a lot of evil going around, if I can say that in a nutshell, if I can say that loud, that word boldly. There's so much evil going around, negativity, destruction. I think that the church should just be more available for people in society, for kids.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And then also, you're speaking about church and the importance thereof. You also started something quite interesting, I think, and remarkable, if anything. If you ever watch the movie War Room, you know exactly what I'm about to speak about right
Yes.
now because you started a war room in your house. So speak to me about that as we come to a close.
I actually have a physical war room in my house.
I love that.
Where kids, yeah. So we have a lot of kids that come in with anxiety, with depression. They self-harm, they cut themselves. We have a lot of kids that want to pull their hair physically out of their heads because of the anxiety, the pain. It's so intense. I promise you, so intense that they actually need a space where they can actually just scream. Just
Wow.
scream, just let it all out. And I'm telling you, I've been in that room myself because, like I said, I'm facing cancer, and cancer's has consumed my whole body. And I've got to be so positive and so ignited and so lit up for Jesus to never, ever go back into that depression mode that I've been in. And I take my kids in there and we scream. And I get so emotional when I say that, it's so powerful just to let it out from your inner being, your soul, when you just lay it all out on the table. It is the most powerful, impactful moment, and that's my motivation to all moms right now. I always say it, and it's such a weird thing to say. You can love your kids, but you do not have to like them all the time. Kids frustrate you. I'm 27, and I take them in there and I say, my baby, just scream out what is going on, what is happening today. Let us conquer today, and it's such a moment, a bonding moment. So yeah, my motivation is to moms as well, to kids. If you are battling something mentally, I've been there as well, where I've had a mental breakdown,
Yeah.
and yeah, just pour it all out.
Sure. Wow.
Wow.
Marion, I wish we could speak to you more, man. There's so much more we can talk about, most definitely. Um,
Have me back.
Listen, you're saying this. It seems as if we are definitely going to be having you back for a couple of
Yes.
other things
That's
and,
good.
and other shows. And I mean, other presenters also listening to your story. There's so much more to talk about. But for now, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for chatting to us. Thank you for encouraging the people. And also, thank you for sharing your story, man. I think out of all of this,
Oh.
the war room gets me the most. And I know that there's so many aspects in what you shared that even Renette felt like, yo. I mean, during the
No
music break,
words.
she was like, oh, this lady just touched my heart with what she shared. And so, thank you, thank you,
Oh,
thank you,
that's
thank
all I
you.
want to do.
No,
Thank
you
you,
you
love.
did a phenomenal job at doing exactly that. Have the most amazing week ahead of you. And also all the strength, man, and all the best for your 27 kids. My goodness.
And your health.
And your health as well. And thank you for staying positive, man. Yo.
Thank
You've got
you.
so much to sulk
You are
about.
loaded with love, dear.
You've got so much to sulk about. You've got so much to be sad about. Yet you choose joy. You choose
Beautiful.
joy and peace. Thank you. And have the most.
It's a choice daily.
I love that. Thank you. Have a lekker time.
Thank you. Bless you. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. See you.